been a while since I built this and then had to rebuild it, so it might be time for a little bit of an overhaul. Especially in the bell here. This piece here used to be up here. It's where the mixing occurs. And because it is now down there, the mixing is occurring too high up in the bell, and the bell has actually started to scale. And the same thing is true on this one. It's because of the materials that's used there. So I have to redo these bells at the very least. And if I'm going to be redoing the bells, I'm going to be resetting everything so that it's further back, so that the controls are not so close to the dragon's mouth that I get burned when I try to adjust the airflow. This is going to be the new injector. What I had done the last time is what I've done this time. I've taken a 1/4-inch cap, took off the galvanizing. I need to take a little more off there, but this is never going to get hot, and even if it is, it's going out. I'm not worried about it. And the idea is I set this in here and do a few tacks, but the problem was with the last one that it got welded in sort of like wonky, and so it threw everything off. So I've given it a little bit of a bevel there. I'm going to do the tacks initially with the magnet in place. And while it's not necessary that it be perfectly centered that way, it absolutely has to be square. And it is. So I'm going to tack these, and then I'll run a bead around, and it just seals that off and holds it in place. And of course, before I do the full weld, I put in the 1/4-inch nipple that is going to be using or feeding the gas line, because I don't want any spatter inside those threads. Yeah. Lots of spatter, but I got it sealed. Though I am by no means an experienced welder, this is obvious, I think that'll hold. And I've done this on the other one as well. So it's been a couple of years since I built the forge. And I had built it from scratch, built it from plans from Roy Adams over at Christ-Centered Ironworks. And I need to rebuild this little section here. I don't know if you could tell, but if I line up these two bits of the T with this straight edge here, you can see that this comes in a little bit. Somehow, in the past, this has become tweaked. And I don't want it to be tweaked. So, I have to reset these bits here. I'm going to be taking these apart from back here and replacing some of these parts. You can see that down here, these have suffered a little bit over the years because of just being, well, out on a patio rather than inside another shop, right? And when I first did these, when I first made these were all made out of the same galvanized material. And I took the galvanizing off because I wasn't sure if these would off-gas. And in the intervening years, I've noticed that these don't get hot. So I can leave the galvanizing on, and that's going to be a benefit right here, at least. All right, so I have progressed. I've just been putting everything back together. But I had to make a couple of changes. One, because of how you put this together, this has to be done this way, because it can't have any unions in it, because it's carrying propane. And that makes it difficult to assemble the three-dimensional object that I'm doing. So I had to take off some pieces. This is the old burner injector. It's still good. This is the new one. And to make assembly even easier, which I added, which did not exist before. You can see this one is painted black, and this one is the black iron, and I haven't quite assembled it yet. Oh, actually I have. There's tape in there. Added a second union. And for this, that way all I can do is just put all this stuff together, tighten it down, and then plug in the union when I'm ready to finish assembly and finish lining up. To make sure that everything is equidistant on either side, that it's all symmetrical. See? And I've done the same thing with the receivers here for the unions. I've done the same thing for all of these as I go along. I make sure that the distances match so that this will all be square when it's done. It's also time for me to redesign this rest. One, because I've added an extra length to the burners, so this will no longer fit. And two, this has rusted through. This was the rest that went across, and I can see now that it was never square cut. And that's fine. Means that it has to be moved back, because I also added extra length so that the gate valves are farther away from the dragon's breath than they were before. So basically this whole thing has to be redesigned. Something I had not noticed before, but if you look at this, you'll see that that's parallel, but it's not down here. And that's because this 90 was tapped badly. It was never a true 90. And it was always going to be a problem. It's wider back here and narrower up here because these were not perfectly 90'd. Fortunately, I can compensate for that by adjusting these in and out. But I've just tested it on the body, and it fits fine as it is. So I'm going to finish piping these out, and then I get to get started on modifying the mount on the forge. Now I've welded on this piece. I'm not sure what this came from. It was just junk in our yard for a while. This cross piece came from a miter saw stand that had lost its tabletop, and there are a ton more of these things on it. So I welded that on. I've welded this on. And it's ready to accept the burner. So I had to buy a new supply line because the old one had developed a leak. And fortunately I had still all the parts. It fits. Oh, see, right there. This is why you do a pressure test. There's gas in the line right now. I've got to make sure that that stops. And there it is. Come on, brightness. There we go. All attached. Sticks out a little bit farther than before, so I have to relocate the forge.